Hi, I'm Doris Lynn. I'm the guide to animal rights for About.com. I'm also an animal rights attorney and the director of legal affairs for the Animal Protection League of New Jersey. Thank you, Terry, for putting this panel together, and thanks to Terry and Mo for speaking on this panel with me. I'd also like to thank the conference organizers for welcoming this topic and for arranging for me to participate virtually since I can't be there. I really wish I could be there. Now, the reason I wanted to talk about this topic was because I've seen postings on Facebook and Twitter over the years condemning an entire nationality or an entire ethnic group for animal cruelty. And I couldn't help but notice that it was always people of color who were characterized this way. So I've blogged about it and written about it on About.com several times. I'm going to discuss some of the pros and cons to being vegan and Chinese American, starting with the pros. One of the pros is the history of Buddhist vegetarianism within Chinese culture. When I first became vegetarian, I was 16, and my mother told me that I had a distant aunt living in China who was Buddhist and vegetarian, and she had tried living in the United States and found that Americans just ate too much meat and she was too offended. So she had to move back to China, and that's why she moved back to China. So I thought that was really cool. Also in a traditional Buddhist funeral, all the food is vegetarian, and if you're not already vegetarian, if someone close to you dies, you're supposed to be vegetarian for a whole year, because it shows respect for that person and that you don't want to participate in killing. Another pro is that I never felt like there was a hole in the center of my plate. In traditional Chinese cooking, there's very little meat. It's usually vegetables stir-fried with a small amount of meat that's served with rice or noodles. And as my brother puts it, it's all just a condiment for the rice. And another pro is tofu and seitan. I grew up eating tofu and seitan. These were not considered weird foods or health foods. Tofu is not just for vegetarianism. Tofu is not just for vegetarians. Everyone eats tofu. Everyone eats seitan. And even though we called seitan suji, which is vegetarian chicken, I never thought of it that way. I just thought it was yummy. So I never had to get used to tofu, or I never found myself getting used to tofu. I don't remember the first time I tasted it, and it never seemed weird to me. Regarding cons, of course, the big con is racism within the animal rights and vegan community. Racism so thoroughly permeates our society. There's, bound to be some within the animal rights community, and I think there's actually less compared to society in general, but there is some. So for example, I see people condemning entire nationalities, entire ethnic groups for eating whales or cats or dogs, and it reeks of speciesism and cultural imperialism, as well as racism, because I see this kind of criticism directed only at people of color. And oftentimes when I say that it's offensive or that it's racist, the answer is, oh no, these people really do that. You're only offended because you're Asian. Hopefully there are non-Asians who are also offended by these types of comments. I'm sorry I can't be there to discuss your questions and comments, but I hope you'll email me at animalrights@aboutguide.com. Thank you.